My fiancé, David Johnson, had a bachelor party the night before the wedding and spent a wonderful night with his first love. I didn't cry or make a scene. I put on my wedding dress as usual and attended the wedding. However, at the wedding, I gave the ring to another man. David thought I was just throwing a tantrum and publicly showed off his affection with a delicate girl to force me to go back. He called me and said, "It's not too late for you to come back now. I can break up with her." And on my phone, I heard the impatient voice of his arch-enemy, Michael Brown. "Emily is pregnant. Stop bothering her." I was standing on the stage in a gorgeous wedding dress with David. The MC held the ring and read out the vows. "Mr. Johnson, do you take Miss Smith to be your wife?" No matter, David took my hand and couldn't wait to answer loudly into the microphone. "I do. Emily, I do." There was a round of applause from the audience below. But he didn't know that because of his big movement, the powder on his neck was rubbed off by his suit collar. The hickey on his neck was clearly visible now. I twitched the corner of my mouth and said nothing. The MC then asked me, "Miss Smith, do you take Mr. Johnson to be your husband?" "No matter, no." I directly interrupted the MC. "Emily." David looked at me in confusion. "What are you talking about?" I said, "I don't." "Stop joking." The audience below was already whispering. David's face looked ugly. He simply took the ring and put it on my hand. He reached out his hand to me, indicating that I should put the ring on him too. "Be good. Didn't you look forward to this day for a long time? Before last night, I really looked forward to today's wedding. But just last night, David kissed his first love, Lily Davis. At the so-called bachelor party, Lily straddled his lap, and they kissed passionately. Someone asked him, "You're getting married to Emily tomorrow. How do you feel?" He said, "Don't mention something that spoils the mood when you're happy. But you chased Emily for a long time back then. It's nothing special after getting her. I'm bored with her. But since she wants to get married, I don't care." Later, David left early with Lily and checked into a room in the next-door hotel. The moment I saw the video sent by others, all my expectations and joys turned into sorrow and swallowed me up. I was trembling all over and kept vomiting until I was so weak that I almost fainted. But I didn't make a scene with David. Early in the morning, I still got up, put on my wedding dress, and asked the makeup artist to do my hair and makeup. I attended the wedding in my most beautiful appearance. It was for this moment that I wanted to embarrass him in front of everyone. "Did you have a good time with Lily last night?" I asked him. David's face immediately changed. "I can explain what happened last night. But let's finish the wedding first." "Okay." "No." I looked at him and said word by word, "We're breaking up. David. From today on, I have nothing to do with you." David's face turned black. He grabbed my hand. "Do you think anyone else will want you after making such a scene?" I looked at him. There was no joy or love in his eyes, only annoyance because his face had been lost. He wanted to finish the wedding with me. Not because he loved me, but because he didn't want to lose face. I shook off his hand. "What if I offer myself to someone else?" I scanned the audience below and saw Michael Brown sitting there, David's arch-enemy. I was even more nervous when I put the ring on his hand than when I refused David just now. I had heard from my close friend Sophia Taylor about him. Michael Brown doesn't like women. It seems he dates men. I thought seeking his help was the best choice. Before Michael could react, I said, "I know you don't like women, but please help me. Take me away." Michael looked at me quietly for a long time. Just as I thought he would push me away, he abruptly asked, "No regrets?" I thought he was asking about calling off the wedding, so I shook my head firmly. "No regrets. You said it." He instantly gripped my hand and led me out with determined steps. His straight back gave off a strong sense of security. David Johnson shouted on stage, gritting his teeth, "Michael." "What do you mean?" Michael didn't even turn his head. "Handle it." "Yes." The assistant following immediately stepped forward. I got into Michael's car. The huge wedding dress skirt almost occupied the entire back seat, escaping the lively venue. A wave of sadness inexplicably surged up. It's not that I can't let go of David. I just feel sorry for myself for the 5 years I spent with him. I thought we would have a good outcome. But in the end, it turned into such an embarrassing situation. Tears uncontrollably fell down. At the same time, the front partition rose. Michael handed me a piece of paper, offering no comfort, and only said 4 words. Since you've entered a dead end. My tears flowed even more fiercely. After crying myself tired, I told Michael to have a couple of drinks with me. He directly took me to his family's winery. He just quietly accompanied me, not saying a word. Midway, my close friend Olivia Wilson called me. At that time, I was already a bit tipsy, so I simply put it on speakerphone to listen to her. You little rascal. The one you ran off with halfway through the wedding is Michael. Finally. You're getting something good. Since you've already snatched him away, why not let him handle the wedding night tonight too? Michael must be incredibly potent. I was so scared that I let out a hiccup and quickly hung up the phone. Sorry, Michael. My friend was talking nonsense. I swayed as I stood up. Thank you for today. I'll head back now. But I had overestimated my alcohol tolerance. When I stood up, my steps were unsteady, and I directly leaned into Michael's arms. I don't know how things turned out like this. Michael immediately kissed me, aggressively invading, domineering and forceful. I was completely overwhelmed. The wedding dress was also torn to pieces. With the little strength I had left, I pushed him and finally caught my breath. He looked at me, his eyes full of possessiveness. You just used a ring to tie me down in front of so many people. Now you regret it. Or are you still thinking about David? Although my head was fuzzy, I shook my head immediately. On the night David slept with his first love, he was already dead to me in my heart. Michael said. Good then. The wedding dress was completely torn off. Wait. Can't wait. Michael truly couldn't wait. He lifted me up into the air, and I could only cling to him with my arms and legs. They didn't even make it to the bedroom. He leaned in. I felt like a small boat tossing on the water. The oars plunged deep into the water and then were pulled out. As I rowed faster, the boat was propelled forward, as if being lashed by a violent storm. The tossing made me dizzy, and it also threw the boat to the peak of the wave. I curled my toes and couldn't help but let out a soft moan. I arched my back and bit Michael's shoulder. The storm reached its peak at that moment. The boat was tossed high up by the wave and then crashed down hard. After a long time, the storm finally subsided. I almost fainted. Michael let out a muffled groan and planted a satisfied kiss on my forehead. He murmured something. It seemed like he said, I've waited for this day for a long time. But I couldn't hear clearly. The sheer veil fell to the ground, and the aroma of wine filled the air. I felt like I was immersed in a drunken stupor, like a wild dream. But soon, Michael's actions told me it wasn't a dream. I could barely catch my breath all night. When I woke up, my whole body ached terribly. There were countless missed calls from David on my phone, and there were also many messages he sent. I didn't want to read any of them. Michael had already gone to the company, but he was very considerate. He had prepared clean clothes and food for me. He also specially called a personal housekeeper to serve me. However, I didn't need any of it. Just out of a failed relationship, I didn't plan to stay, nor did I want to have any ties with Michael. After reporting my safety to my family, I went straight from the winery to the airport. Without a specific destination, I just chose the nearest flight. Before boarding the plane, I thought about it and still sent a message to Michael. Thank you. Then I removed my domestic phone card. Just like that, I traveled and stayed abroad alone for more than 2 months. It wasn't until it was almost Olivia's birthday that I booked a flight back to China. Olivia held a birthday party outdoors. At first, only a few of my close friends showed up. Unexpectedly, later, David came with his first love. Olivia was furious. I didn't invite him. What a shameless thing. I'll kick him out right now. I stopped him. It doesn't matter. It's your birthday today. There's no need to be unhappy about this. We just ignore him. But after several rounds of drinking, there was suddenly a commotion over at David's side. He staggered towards me. Come home with me when you've had enough fun. I took a step back and looked at him coldly. Mr. Johnson might have a bad memory. We've already broken up. But I didn't agree. He stared at me. So you're still my fiancé? Suddenly, there was applause behind me. Michael walked over. It's the first time I've heard that a breakup needs the other person's consent. David's face turned ugly. Why does Mr. Brown always interfere in the matter between me and M? Do you have the right to question what I do? He walked over and slightly stepped aside to separate me from David. The strong smell of alcohol on his breath disappeared, replaced by a clear scent of pine. Shall we go? He asked me. I didn't hesitate. Let's go. David Johnson's friend behind me said. It seems Emily Smith really doesn't like you anymore. Is she with Michael Brown? David said. Impossible. Michael Brown doesn't like women. Emily is doing this to deliberately provoke me. The more she acts out, the more it shows she cares about me. Just wait. I have plenty of ways to make her come back obediently. I ignored David's bullshit. But because of all that commotion, it was true I hadn't eaten much. Looking at Michael beside me, who showed no intention of leaving, I thought for a moment and politely asked, I'm going to grab some food. Would you like to join me? Michael Brown. The result was that we ended up sitting together at a street food stall. The noisy clamor and thick smoke rising from the stall clashed sharply with Michael's expensive suit. Yet he sat there calmly, not even flinching when he placed the suit worth thousands on a cheap plastic stool. When the skewers arrived, I said, if you really don't want to eat, don't force yourself. Michael glanced at me, picked up a skewer, ate it, and said, tastes good. I remembered back when I was with David, tired of restaurants. I occasionally craved a change and wanted to eat this kind of food. But he always complained it was dirty. Emily, we have money, there's no need to eat that stuff. For me, though, eating street food wasn't about being rich or poor. Once, on my birthday, he reluctantly agreed to join me for skewers from a vendor. But from the moment we sat down, his brow was tightly furrowed, and he wiped the stool multiple times before setting down his clothes. Seeing how he struggled to eat, I said, if you can't eat it, don't force yourself. I'll just eat alone. It's fine. Since I said I'd join you, I will. Unexpectedly, the next day, he came down with gastroenteritis. While taking care of him, I felt so guilty I teared up. David didn't hold back, constantly needling me with words. I told you it wasn't clean, but you insisted on going. If you hadn't ignored me, I wouldn't be like this. I hope you learn your lesson and stop being so reckless. At that moment, my guilt peaked. From then on, my eating habits followed his preferences. My thoughts snapped back. Most of the skewers on the table were already gone. Seeing Michael pick up the last one, I quickly snatched it from his hand and stuffed it into my mouth. You ate the most, so you pay, he replied matter-of-factly. You slept with me and ran off. What's wrong with treating me to some skewers? I choked in shock and coughed uncontrollably. Michael calmly handed me a bottle of water, his eyes full of teasing amusement. But the next day, Michael's assistant told me Michael had a stomach flare-up and was hospitalized, haunted by the shadow of what happened with David. The first thing I did upon entering the hospital room was apologize to Michael. I'm sorry, Michael. Hooked 2 and 4. Sat propped up in bed. Why are you apologizing? I chose to eat that stuff myself. It's not your fault. I'm an adult. I know the consequences of my actions. He looked at me, a bit helpless. I didn't want to spoil your fun, but it seems I messed up. I should be the one apologizing. I froze for a second. I remembered all those blaming words from David. Right. He was an adult. He certainly knew that saying those harsh things would make me feel worse and more guilty. Yet he insisted on saying them. He just wanted to punish me, to make me obey him. The phone in my pocket rang just in time. James Miller called. He is David Johnson's good friend, and we are somewhat familiar. Emily Smith. David has a fever, and there's no medicine at home. Can you buy some and come see him? His voice had an echo, probably from speakerphone. David, the person involved, must have been listening. I said, let the girl who was riding him the night before the engagement buy it for him. Also, James, David and I have broken up. Didn't you know? So, don't come to me for his matters anymore. The sound of a teacup shattering came through the phone. David gritted his teeth and said, Emily, my patience is limited. Take the chance to back down and don't go too far. I snorted coldly and was about to speak when Michael Brown suddenly called out, Emily, the 4-drip is finished. Help me call a doctor. I was a bit puzzled. The assistant was clearly standing right beside him. And there was a call button by the bed. Why ask me? Then the next second, David shouted furiously, Emily Smith, you'd rather take care of Michael than come see me. Oh, so it was to provoke David. I played along and replied, yes. What's it to you? He got even angrier. Don't think I can't live without you. I can find countless replacements. I couldn't be bothered to listen to his ranting and just hung up. On the other end, James held the disconnected phone, feeling torn. David, if you really want to win Emily back, you should say something gentle to her. The more you act like this, the less she'll want to return. Besides, James swallowed hard. You were definitely in the wrong. You were about to get married. Yet you insisted on doing that with Lily Davis. David frowned tightly. I drank too much that night. And Lily was so forward. What could I do? Besides, it was only once. So what? In that situation, who could resist their first love? I just made the mistake every man in the world makes. I still love Emily in my heart. Isn't that enough? What more does she want? Should I kneel and beg her to come back? James sighed helplessly. I'm warning you, if Emily ever really runs off, don't come crying to me. David's eyes turned fierce. Run off? With who? Michael Brown. He's no saint either. Do you think he actually likes Emily? He's using her as a replacement. Although Michael didn't blame me. I still visited him in the hospital often these past few days. I was struggling to peel an apple for Michael when Olivia Wilson suddenly called. Did you make up with David? I was confused. What? She sent me a picture of David kissing a girl he held in his arms. Only half of the girl's face was visible, but both her features and her clothing style looked so much like similar that even I paused, wondering if it was me for a moment. Olivia also sent me a screenshot of the comments below. Back with Emily. Looks like you won the bet. Emily still came back to you. Emily really can't live without you. After all, David himself vaguely commented, "Shall always be mine," without clarifying that it wasn't me, deliberately letting everyone misunderstand. That's not me. I replied to Olivia. David is doing this on purpose. He wants everyone to think that woman is me. Olivia breathed a sigh of relief over the phone. That's good. I thought you'd made up with that jerk, said Olivia. I have something to confess. While you were abroad to relax, Michael once came to me and asked about your whereabouts. He offered so much money that I told him. But don't worry. It was only Michael. If it were someone else, I wouldn't tell them no matter how much they offered. Every time you changed your location, Michael would fly there to see you. Didn't you ever run into him abroad? I was taken aback. I really hadn't met Michael and had no idea about this. I looked up at him. He was standing very close to me. Olivia had a loud voice, and Michael could hear every word she said clearly. I quickly told Olivia I had to go and hung up the phone. I did go to see you. Michael looked at me and explained. But I didn't want to disturb you. I just wanted to make sure you were safe. At that moment, my nose started to sting. It was a lie to say that I'd never felt lonely or scared when traveling alone in a foreign country. But now I knew that at every moment when I arrived at a new place, there was actually someone with me. It was as if all the imperfections in the journey had become perfect. My quiet heart suddenly started beating fast, thump after thump. Later, I talked to David and asked him to explain to others that the person in the photos wasn't me when he posted them. But David said, "First, I never said it was you. They just guessed on their own. And I can't control their thoughts. Second, I don't have the time to explain to everyone. Besides, it's my freedom whether to explain or not." I squinted at him. "David, don't go too far," he said. "Emily, just come back obediently." "I've said we've broken up," I said. "But you still follow my social media posts, right? Isn't it because you still care about me?" I thought he was being ridiculous. "What on earth do you want?" "The day after tomorrow," David said. "Come to my birthday party, and let's talk face to face." David loved a lively atmosphere and always invited a lot of people to his birthday parties. The private room was packed. When I opened the door, they were all gathered around David, chatting. "Emily really wants to get back with you. The gift she gave is so expensive," someone said. "It's still David. Women always take the initiative to make up with him," another one added. David was twirling a brand new watch on his wrist. It seemed that this was the so-called gift I was supposed to have given him. But I hadn't given him anything. He said, "After all, we've been together for so long. Of course, she still loves me." So this was the reason Head invited me here today. He wanted me to confirm this in person. Coincidentally, I was here to settle this matter. When his friends saw me, they greeted me cheerfully. "The girlfriend is here. Make room for her to sit down." "No need," I said. "I'll just stand for a while and then leave." David's face darkened for a moment. "Emily, come and sit here." I didn't move and stood there, saying to him, "Since there are so many people here, I'll make things clear once and for all today. I've completely broken up with David. I've sent the video of the reason to the group. Everyone is welcome to watch it." This group originally only had David, me, and a few close friends. Later, everyone invited others. And now there are hundreds of people in it. And the video I sent to the group was of David passionately kissing his first love. After all, we had been together. I didn't originally want our relationship to end so awkwardly. But since he was pushing me, I didn't care anymore. Also, everyone here, no matter who you are, I scanned the people in the room with my eyes. Don't link me with David anymore in the future. Or don't blame me for getting angry. Everyone exchanged bewildered glances. Yet a loudmouth still piped up. "What's with the act? Just a couple of days ago, weren't you melting in David Johnson's arms from a kiss? And now you're playing innocent." I casually grabbed a wine glass from the table and walked toward him, pouring the entire drink over his head. I said, "What? You love being the first to speak up." "You." Before he could finish, I shoved a handful of peanuts into his mouth. "The person in David's photo isn't me. Ask him who it is. Anyone else have questions?" The private room fell silent, except for the guy spitting out the peanuts with disgust. Mission accomplished. I turned and left the room. David Johnson chased after me. He grabbed my arm, slammed me against the wall, and pinned my limbs down, leaving me immobilized. In such a hurry to find someone. Looking for Michael Brown. I stared coldly at him, then let go already. He chuckled twice. "You really think you can hook up with Michael? Take a look at this." He revealed a photo tucked in Michael's wallet. "Everyone says it's Michael's first love. Doesn't she look just like you? You think he lets you close for no reason. He's using you as a substitute." Emily Smith. He stroked my cheek. "Why can't you see? I'm the only one who truly loves you. Everything I did was to get you back." I walked downstairs in silence. Unexpectedly, I looked up and saw Michael Brown. He stood tall beside his car and immediately crushed out his cigarette when he spotted me. For a moment, I couldn't bring myself to go to him. Seeing me hesitate, he walked toward me instead. As he approached, I took a step back. His voice was rough. Whatever it is, let me take you home first. It's late, and it's not safe for you alone. The drive was quiet. He insisted on walking me to my door, and as he turned to leave, I called out, "Michael." I tugged at his shirt. "What about the photo in your wallet?" The air seemed to freeze for an instant. Panic flashed across Michael's face. The photo showed a cyberpunk-styled band lead singer with braided hair, smoky eye makeup, and oversized, asymmetrical earrings. She looked strikingly similar to me. But anyone who knew me well wouldn't mistake her for Methy, just say the resemblance was uncanny. That included David Johnson. My whole life, I'd been the model good girl and straight-A student. School uniforms and white dresses were my signature. Teachers, relatives, and even my parents praised me as obedient and well-behaved. To everyone, I seemed like a train that never derailed, never rebellious. It was hard for anyone to connect the girl in the photo to me. But in truth, that girl was me. So, there was no substitute. That was me in high school, when academic stress became unbearable. I used after-school tutoring as an excuse to secretly form a band. Our band often performed in neighboring cities. I knew no one would support it, so I never told a soul. But that period was truly the happiest time of my life. Of course, I also gained a small group of fans. One of them had followed me to every single performance since I joined the band. After each of my shows, he would send me a handwritten letter and the photos he took of me that day. But I never knew who he was. After the band broke up, I lost contact with him. He was a special note in that rebellious melody of mine. Although I didn't mention him often, I always remembered him. Until I saw this photo. I immediately recognized it as one of the photos that fan took of me back then. David Johnson didn't know the girl was me. He originally wanted to make me hate Michael Brown through this photo, but it backfired and brought me an unexpected prize. "Why didn't you tell me it was you?" Michael said. "Back then, there were so many fans who liked you. I was nothing special among them." "You fool." "Of course not." My nose felt a bit sore. At the beginning, there were so many people scolding me, saying I sang badly. Only you praised me from start to finish. Every time I was scolded. When I read the letters you wrote, I thought, there was still you listening. So things weren't that bad. When I saw David take out that photo, I seemed to be more certain of my feelings for Michael. My ears burned, and I reached out to hook his neck, tentatively and voluntarily kissing his lips. "Michael, thank you for always being with me." The next second, Michael instantly took control. He locked my wrists above my head and planted kisses on me, domineering and intense. The small sofa became the battlefield. Our clothes were scattered in a mess. His hot body completely pinned me down, and he called my name again and again. "Emily." The waves ebbed and flowed. The huge fish plunged into the water and swam slowly and tantalizingly for a long time. He did it on purpose. I bit my lip and grabbed his arm. "Michael." He looked at me with a wanton smile on his lips. "Tell me what you're thinking." With a blushing face, I got close to his ear and whispered 3 words. Michael let out a low grunt, with veins popping out on his forehead. "Emily, you'll regret this." That night, when he carried me directly off the sofa, I knew I'd gone too far. On Valentine's Day, the bar was filled with lovey-dovey couples. David sat there with a gloomy face, drinking silently. He couldn't understand why Emily didn't come back to him even after knowing she was a stand-in. When he first found that photo in Michael's wallet, he thought it was Emily, but he knew it wasn't. Emily had always been a well-behaved girl and would never play in a band. He thought that since he could find a substitute for Emily, maybe Michael was also using Emily as a stand-in for someone else. So, he told her about it, waiting for her to come back to him. On the first day, he was full of confidence, waiting for Emily's call, but he didn't get it. After a week, he found he hadn't even been removed from Emily's blacklist. He thought of forcing her to come back. So during this period, he deliberately dated all kinds of girls and showed off their relationships publicly. He just wanted to make her jealous. But now, a month had passed, and there was still no sign from Emily. He didn't know what went wrong. James Miller egged him on. "Why don't you give her a call and ask? Whoever wants to call can call." David was too proud. "I was just trying to help her. I told her Michael is no good. Now do you want me to call her and beg her to come back? Fine if she doesn't come back. She'll cry when she realizes she's been deceived." But the next moment, he still took out his phone and called Emily Smith. "Forget it. Considering how much she loved me before, I'll give her one last chance." When the call came in, I had just returned from the hospital with Michael Brown. My mind was still a bit foggy. The doctor's words echoed in my ears. "How can you be so careless when you're already a month pregnant? Thankfully the baby is fine. But you still need to be extra careful during the first trimester, or you'll regret it as parents later on." I was pregnant. After snapping back to reality, I punched Michael in a fit of anger. "This is all your fault." Michael was actually happy about it. His eyes and brows filled with a smile. "Yes, it's all my fault." But once we got home, I started having morning sickness again, feeling so awful that my face turned pale. Michael wasn't feeling great either. But all he could do was stay by my side. Just as he was getting irritated, David Johnson called. "Emily, it's not too late to come back now. I can break up with her." He thought I was jealous about his recent high-profile displays of affection with an innocent college student. For some reason, his voice made me even more nauseous. Before I could say anything, my phone was snatched away. Michael patted my back and said, "Emily is pregnant. So stop fucking bothering her." On the other end, David froze. After snapping out of it, he kicked over some bottles on the table. "Damn it. Michael, you stole my woman." But the call had already ended. And when he tried calling back, his number was blocked. James Miller was terrified and asked what was wrong. David said with a hollow look, "Late at night, Michael answered Emily's call. And he said Emily is pregnant. He must be lying to me, right?" James didn't dare answer because he thought it was true. "No." David shook his head. "It has to be fake. Emily knows she was just a stand-in. And with her proud nature, how could she still be with Michael? She must still be tricking me. She's definitely doing this because she's unhappy with my recent actions. I should have listened to you. Yes. I should talk to her properly. I'll go buy a gift to win her back. To make it easier to take care of me." Michael suggested I move in with him. I thought the proposal made sense. So I planned to go home today to get some clothes. When I arrived, I saw David standing at my doorstep holding a gift box and flowers. "Emily, I'm sorry." He apologized as soon as he saw me. "I've been absurd and awful lately. But everything I do is because I love you. Please forgive me." "Okay. Look." He handed me the gift box. "This is the jade pendant you always wanted. I bought it for you." This necklace was something I had planned to wear with my wedding dress on the big day. A month before the wedding, when I was trying on dresses, I mentioned wanting to buy this pendant to him. He agreed back then. But 3 days before the wedding, when I asked where the pendant was, David said, "I've been too busy lately and forgot." "Don't you have plenty of necklaces? Just pick any one to wear instead." "Okay." I felt sorry for him being busy at the time and didn't make a big deal out of it. Looking back now, maybe that pendant incident was a warning, a reminder that he wasn't right for me. I smiled sarcastically. "What would I even do with it now? If there's nothing else, you can leave." "Emily." His eyes had a crazy, obsessive glint. "I know what you've been bothered by all along is that I slept with Lily Davis the night before the wedding. Isn't it? If it weren't for her seducing me, none of this would have happened later. I'll make her apologize to you." "Okay." He pulled Lily Davis, whose mouth was gagged, out of the emergency exit. grabbed her hair, and slammed her head against the wall. Thud, thud, thud. Several dull thumps echoed. Will this make you happier, Emily Smith? Can you forgive me? At that moment, David Johnson seemed like a madman. I didn't dare make a move. While he wasn't paying attention, I texted the police and contacted Michael Brown. David saw I wasn't speaking and suddenly slapped himself twice in the face. I'm at fault too. I shouldn't have betrayed you. I'm sorry, Emily. Can you forgive me? Emily, come back to me. As he spoke, he started walking toward me. I instinctively covered my stomach and took a step back. That action provoked him. He suddenly stared intensely at my stomach. Are you really pregnant with Michael's child? Didn't I tell you? He's just using you as a substitute. Why would you rather be someone else's substitute than reconcile with me? He grew more agitated as he spoke, and his shouting triggered the motion sensor light. But it's okay. He suddenly laughed. Emily, be good. We don't want this child. We'll have our own. I wanted to run, but he moved even faster. He locked my shoulders and pinned me against the wall. I couldn't move. Emily, be good. Just endure for a little while. It won't hurt for long. He clenched his fist and swung it toward my stomach. At that point, neither the police nor Michael could appear in time to save me. I closed my eyes in despair. A heavy, dull thud sounded a loud bang. The pain I expected didn't come. I opened my eyes and saw David bleeding from his forehead, his body slowly collapsing to the ground. Behind him stood Lily, holding the fire extinguisher she had used to hit him, while David was talking to me. Lily had been trying to free herself from the ropes binding her hands. When David's fist swung toward my stomach, she succeeded, grabbed the fire extinguisher, and helped me. Thank you, I gasped, nearly collapsing, forcing out the last of my strength to express gratitude. I owe you. Lily set the fire extinguisher aside and leaned against the wall, waiting for the police. My nerves were on edge the whole time, until Michael appeared. At that moment, I didn't mean to cry, but tears streamed down uncontrollably. Michael held me tightly in his arms. It's over. It's over. I'm sorry, Emily. I came too late. David was taken away by the police and sentenced to prison. As for Lily, Michael asked me how to handle it. I wouldn't forgive her for the affair she had been involved in before, but she had indeed saved me. I said, I don't want to owe her anything. So Michael found Lily and gave her $500,000. She accepted it willingly. Michael threw me a grand wedding. He handled almost all the preparations himself, while I just stayed home saying yes or no. Later, I asked Michael why there had been rumors at first that he liked men. Michael said, too many people were curious about my love life, so the stories that spread out were a mix of truth and lies. I never clarified, so they naturally took it seriously. However, he kissed my lips. Do you know which rumor I like the most? What? They say the photo in my wallet is of my first love. You weren't that back then, but now you are. It's not a rumor, but truly his Emily Smith. From then on, he will love her with all his might.